Good morning, everyone. Please maintain order and remain seated. Today, we have before us a case that, based on my many years of experience in this chair, is not merely an indictment. I have witnessed countless stories pass through this courtroom, sad ones, joyful ones, those that erode faith, and those that restore it. But occasionally a case arises that reminds me why I still walk into this room every morning, why justice remains the pursuit to which I have devoted my life. Before we begin, I want to reiterate a principle that never changes. This courtroom is a place of respect. We seek justice, yes, but we do so with dignity, with compassion, and with absolute fairness. I do not care where you were born, whether your family holds power, whether your father is the mayor or simply a hard-working laborer. Everyone stands before the law as equals. That is the foundation of this system, and it will remain so as long as I hold this responsibility. So let us proceed to the reason we are all here today. The defendant in this case is a young woman, 23 years old, named Ariana Grace Whitford, daughter of the current mayor of Providence, Jonathan Whitford. Ariana grew up in a family with deep influence in Rhode Island politics, living on Elm Grove Avenue in the East Side, one of the city's most expensive and tranquil neighborhoods. She graduated from Boston University, currently works for a nonprofit funded by her family, and from a young age has been accustomed to appearing at political events, fundraisers, and gatherings where power and privilege go hand in hand. But those things, as I always say, carry no weight in this courtroom. According to the report I received on August 14, 2024, at 3:12 p.m., Ariana was driving a black 2024 Porsche Cayenne worth over $90,000 when she sped through a 20 miles per hour school zone directly in front of Nathan Bishop Middle School at a recorded speed of 67 miles per hour. This was dismissal time when hundreds of students were pouring onto the sidewalks, school buses were stopping repeatedly to pick up children, and parents were waiting on the curb. According to the police body cam, Ariana's vehicle shot past like an arrow, causing two students standing close to the curb to startle and step back. Officer Michael Reyes, PD badge #583, who has served the city for 11 years, immediately activated his lights and signaled for her to pull over. As he approached, the window lowered only halfway, and he heard a voice that he later described in his report as cold, reckless, and overtly threatening. Ariana looked straight at Officer Reyes and said, "Do you know who I am? I can call my dad and have this entire police department fired." That statement was not just arrogance, it was a declaration that, in her eyes, the law is something that can be bent by family power. When Officer Reyes explained the reason for the stop, that she was going 67 miles per hour in a school zone, Ariana showed no concern or confusion. Instead, she let out a small laugh, a smirk that the camera captured clearly. As Officer Reyes wrote the ticket, Ariana snatched the paper from his hand, crumpled it, and threw it onto the pavement, saying, "I don't need this." All of this happened in front of dozens of parents waiting to pick up their children, and several voluntarily provided statements to police because they were so outraged by her behavior. When I read that part of the file, I had to set the documents down for a few seconds. Those words told me everything about her attitude. This was no longer a simple traffic violation. It was a disregard for children's safety, for the police, and most importantly for the law. After the school zone incident, Ariana showed no worry or remorse. Instead, she turned the entire episode into a joke on social media. Just hours after being ticketed by Officer Reyes, she posted a 13-second video on TikTok filmed inside her Porsche Cayenne, with blue interior lighting and a face full of mockery. In the clip, Ariana shrugged, smirked, and said, "Some bored cop pulled me over. Guess he had nothing better to do." The video quickly garnered over 18,000 views in 24 hours, along with hundreds of comments from friends, followers, and complete strangers. Some laughed along, some praised her queen energy, but many expressed outrage at the arrogance of someone who had just nearly caused an accident in an area full of students. But Ariana did not stop there. According to the records I received on the evening of August 14th, just hours after the TikTok clip, Ariana went live on Instagram in front of her 67,000 followers. The live stream lasted nearly 10 minutes, but the first 10 seconds alone were enough to ignite public fury. She sat in front of the camera, arms crossed, head tilted back slightly as if seated on a throne, and said, "Next week I have to go to court to see old man Caprio. You think he'd dare find me? I'm the mayor of Providence's daughter. They wouldn't dare touch the Whitfords." Those words were heard live by thousands, then immediately clipped and shared by major accounts. Local news outlets and political blogs reposted the live stream, questioning the mayor's daughter's attitude and what it meant for public trust in the justice system. I remember clearly the next morning when my assistant placed printouts of those posts on my desk. Every headline carried the same theme: the arrogance of a young generation raised in privilege and the sense of immunity they believe family power provides. But what troubled me most was not what Ariana said to tens of thousands of followers on Instagram, but what she said directly to the officer, knowing the moment was being recorded on body cam. In the body cam video sent by the Providence Police Department, As Officer Reyes walked back to his patrol car to complete paperwork, Ariana leaned toward the window, lowered her voice but still loud enough for the microphone to capture, and said, "This court stays open because of the budget my dad approves. Caprio will have to go easy." When I first heard those words while reviewing the body cam, I paused the video for a few seconds. Not because she referred to me with contempt. I have been in this profession long enough to know that judges sometimes become targets of resentment, but because she truly believed her father's power could buy leniency, could bend the law, could make this courtroom bow, and that is what saddened me most. A young person raised in a family of influence should understand that public power is not a tool to protect personal ego, much less a shield for dangerous behavior. But Ariana, through every word she spoke and every video she posted, demonstrated the opposite, that she believed the law could be manipulated, and those who enforced justice were merely temporary obstacles to the privilege she inherited. I watched that live stream 3 times. I wanted to be sure I missed nothing, and each time it weighed heavier on me. I was not upset that she mocked me. I was upset that she thought the law could be bought with power. Those words in the videos on bodycam, in her demeanor, told me one clear thing. This was no longer an impulsive mistake. This was a deeply ingrained mindset, a belief that the law stands beneath her, and it is precisely these actions that have brought us to this trial today. 3 days later, when Ariana should have been reflecting on her reckless behavior and the mocking words spreading online, another incident occurred, more serious, more dangerous, and the starkest exposure of her belief that she was completely immune to consequences. According to the report I received from the Providence Police Department, at 5:21 p.m. on August 17, 2024, a Ring camera in front of 156 Evergreen Street captured Ariana's 2024 Porsche Cayenne speeding through the residential neighborhood without stopping at a stop sign. At that exact moment, a 9-year-old boy was riding his bike across the intersection. The child, small and completely unaware that a luxury car was barreling toward him like a black gust of wind, managed only to swerve sharply right. His bike wobbled, nearly falling to the pavement. The boy's mother, standing a few meters away, screamed in terror and rushed to pull her son to the curb. And the Porsche did not slow down, did not stop, did not turn back, did not care. From the extracted video I saw the entire moment, a car streaking past, a child nearly thrown off, and a mother holding her trembling son on the curb, trying to comprehend what had just happened. If the boy had pedaled half a second slower, if his handlebars had shaken a bit more, or if his reflexes had been any less sharp, we would not be here discussing arrogance. We would be discussing a death. Yet Ariana drove on as if nothing had happened, as though stop signs, human lives, and every safety rule existed only for others, not for her. 3 days, just 3 days after being ticketed in the school zone, and once again she proved she believed no one could touch her. But it is that very confidence, combined with the political pressure behind her, that makes this case heavier. In the 10 days following the Evergreen Street incident, my office ceased to be a place for processing cases and running the court. It became the center of phone calls, messages, emails, all carrying the same message: go easy. 5 calls from Mayor Whitford's chief of staff, each framed as friendly discussions, but with entirely different content. Your Honor Caprio, perhaps we can find a reasonable resolution to avoid impacting her family. It's just a misunderstanding. She's young. The mayor is very interested in maintaining a good relationship with the court. The words sounded polite, but beneath them was persistent pressure, as if justice could be adjusted to fit political needs. Then came 3 emails from the city attorney's office, filled with vague suggestions like adjusting the penalty, considering family context, or ensuring no negative media consequences for the city. I read each email, and I deleted each email, but it did not end there. 2 voicemails from the mayor's campaign fundraising team arrived at my office, speaking of strong support from the business community and a desire to resolve this quickly to avoid unnecessary noise during election season. And then the final straw, an offer of a $150,000 donation to the Providence Safe Streets initiative, accompanied by the line, "If the matter could be handled educationally rather than criminally." I had to stop reading there. Donating to traffic safety is a good thing, but when it is offered as part of a trade to lessen a potentially deadly offense, it is no longer goodwill, it is bribery. And I want to say this clearly, in the same tone I have used for over 30 years. I have sat in this chair for more than 30 years, and I say this plainly: no one, not even the mayor's daughter, is allowed to place themselves above the law. Justice is not a commodity. This courtroom is not a place for bargaining, and a child's life is never ever something that can be put on a political trading table. When I rewatched the video of the 9-year-old boy wobbling on his bike, his small feet scraping the pavement to stay balanced, I could not help but think what would have happened if his reflexes had been half a second slower. Just half a second, and we would no longer be discussing recklessness but a life taken in an instant. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter who loves riding her bike around my backyard in Cranston with pigtails and always smiling wide whenever I watch. When I saw the Ring camera footage, I saw her and that child, small, carefree, completely trusting that adults will do the right thing to protect them, and that moment made my blood run cold. Because the issue here is not just speed, not just an ignored stop sign, not just a near miss. It is the fact that Ariana Whitford, daughter of the person currently serving as mayor, the individual responsible for leading community safety efforts, is the one who disregarded that safety most blatantly. Economic privilege is dangerous, but political privilege is far more dangerous, because when someone with access to public power, or living in a family that holds it, believes they can evade consequences, it does not just harm a specific victim, it harms the public's faith in the system that runs this city. When the child of the highest local official disregards the law and then declares to tens of thousands of followers that the court wouldn't dare touch the Whitfords, it is no longer personal behavior, it is a statement about whom the law serves. And as I have said for over 30 years, this law serves everyone, not just a select few families. In today's arguments, Assistant District Attorney Morgan Steele presented a sharp and airtight case. She recounted every piece of evidence: 67 miles per hour in a school zone, the insult to the officer, the live stream mocking the court, and the near-fatal incident on Evergreen Street. ADA Steele recommended a sentence including 120 days in jail, a substantial fine, and a 3-year license suspension, reasoning that it was necessary to protect the community and send a clear message that political power is not a shield. I listened to her, not because I was unaware of the case's severity, but because I wanted to ensure every perspective was heard in this courtroom. Then it was defense attorney Rebecca Collins's turn, a skilled, experienced lawyer who did her utmost to present the best case for her client. Collins argued that Ariana is young, only 23, has no prior record, and has endured intense media pressure in recent days. She contended that social media had blown the incident out of proportion, that the entire city is directing its outrage at a young woman because she is the mayor's daughter, and that an overly harsh sentence would destroy the future of a young person just starting out in life. I listened, I understood, and I know such arguments often arise in cases involving young people, but when I look at the file, the videos, and every word Ariana spoke, both to the officer and to 67,000 viewers on Instagram, I do not see pressure. I see overconfidence. I see contempt. I see someone who believes consequences are for others, not for her, and that is what worries me more than anything else. I say this with all the calm my role demands. What worries me most is not the speed, it is the attitude. Speed can be corrected, a minor mistake can be fixed, but attitude, especially an attitude nurtured by privilege, reinforced by family power, and amplified by social media encouragement, is what can turn dangerous behavior into a repeating disaster. No one in this courtroom wants to see that happen, and it is my duty to ensure it does not. Before sentencing, I want to clearly explain why leniency, which I always try to extend to young people who make mistakes, cannot be applied here today. In every case, I ask myself, does the person standing before me understand the consequences of their actions? Can they change? Do they value the safety of the community? But with Ariana Whitford, the answers I found in the evidence, in the video, in the way she spoke about the court and about this city's government, all led me to one conclusion: leniency right now would not be kindness, but complicity. I reviewed her live stream multiple times, and I want to quote her exact words spoken to 67,000 followers. "Next week I have to go to court to meet old man Caprio. Think he dares to find me? I'm the daughter of the mayor of Providence. They wouldn't dare touch the Whitford family." She didn't just mock me as an individual, but she mocked the very judicial system that I represent. She declared that the court wouldn't dare do the right thing out of fear of her father. That is not just an insult, it is a public challenge to justice. And when someone believes that deeply enough to say it out loud to tens of thousands of people, we must face the reality that they do not view the law as something with the authority to govern their behavior. That is more concerning than any speed number. I also have to address what she said to Officer Reyes, captured on body cam. "This court survives thanks to the budget my dad approves. Caprio will have to go easy." When someone believes that the budget money, taxpayers' money, not their family's private funds, is a tool to pressure the court, then that person is not just breaking the law, they are undermining the foundation of public trust. And that trust is something that I and everyone serving justice in this city can never allow to collapse. For all these reasons, and for the safety of the community, I must impose the maximum sentence allowed under Rhode Island law. Ariana Whitford, I will read each part of the sentence, and I want you to listen not with resentment, but with the understanding that these decisions are not meant to harm you, but to protect others from your dangerous choices. For the reckless driving in a school zone on August 14, 2024, when you drove 67 miles per hour in a 20 miles per hour zone in front of Nathan Bishop Middle School, you are sentenced to the maximum penalty, 120 days of incarceration at the Adult Correctional Institutions, Women's Division, for contempt of court through mocking, insulting, and publicly declaring that the court would fear your father and not handle you fairly. You are sentenced to 60 days in prison, to be served consecutively, meaning following the previous sentence, not concurrently, for the repeat violation endangering a minor on August 17, 2024, on Evergreen Street, when you ran a stop sign and nearly hit a 9-year-old boy. You are sentenced to 90 days in prison, also consecutively. In total, your sentence is 270 days in prison, equivalent to 9 months, with no eligibility for early release for good behavior. The full time must be served. Next, I impose a civil fine of $18,000 USD divided equally among 3 programs: Providence Safe Streets Rhode Island Trauma Support Fund and Providence Police Community Partnership Program. These are the places that deal daily with the consequences of the recklessness you displayed. I further order the suspension of your driver's license for 4 years, effective immediately. After the 4-year period, if you wish to restore your driving privileges, you will have to retake all DMV tests, including the written exam driving test and an advanced traffic safety course. During the 4-year suspension, you are absolutely prohibited from operating any vehicle in the state of Rhode Island, whether it's a family car, rented vehicle, or one owned by someone else. Violating this order will result in at least 1 additional year in prison. I also require you to complete 300 hours of community service at Rhode Island Hospital, Trauma Unit, and Safe Streets Coalition, where you will directly see the consequences of reckless behaviors similar to yours. I believe no lesson is clearer than facing reality. Finally, I require you to participate in a program for attitude improvement and civic responsibility, designed specifically for individuals with public endangerment, combined with displays of disrespect for the law. I say this once more so you understand and so everyone present here understands. I am not punishing to harm you. I am punishing to save someone's life, perhaps even your own. Right now, Ariana Whitford, by regulation, you will be remanded immediately, taken into custody right away to begin serving the sentence. And in that moment, as the court officer approached, the entire courtroom fell silent. Not because the sentence was harsh, but because everyone understood that today the law had stood firm against privilege. Before concluding the hearing, I want to say something not just to Ariana Whitford, but to all parents, young people, and anyone following this case, whether in the courtroom or through the press, media, or social networks. To those holding power, whether political, economic, or social, I hope you understand that our greatest responsibility is not protecting family reputation, but teaching our children to respect the law and the lives of those around them. If a child grows up believing that parental power can replace morality, then that is not just the failure of one child, but the failure of a family. To the young people listening to me, I want you to know that live streams, TikTok, Instagram are not places to mock the law or belittle those enforcing it. The words you say in jest can spread far, can create consequences you don't foresee, and more importantly, they can reflect who you truly are to society. Humor should never come at the cost of harming others or weakening trust in the law. And to parents, those watching and perhaps feeling pain seeing the sentence just pronounced, I want to say this clearly: if you help your child avoid consequences, you are teaching them that morality doesn't matter. Love for children always makes us want to protect them from hardship, but sometimes the most important lesson lies in letting them face the consequences they caused. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the foundation for a child to grow into an adult. And to the Providence community, I want to send my thanks, because it is your concern. The videos you sent in, the honest testimonies, and your steadfast commitment to protecting safety on every road and in every neighborhood that helped the court fulfill its role today. We cannot build a safe city if we allow privilege to stand above the law. Today we prove the opposite, that no matter who your parents are, whether you live on Elm Grove Avenue or Cranston Street, no matter how many followers you have on social media, the law still holds an unshakable place. And I say this with all the solemnity my position requires. This court does not sell justice, and today we fulfilled that duty. When looking at the story of Ariana, the mayor's daughter, speeding 67 miles per hour in a school zone in front of Nathan Bishop Middle School, live streaming mockery of police and the judge to 67,000 followers, then nearly hitting a 9-year-old boy on Evergreen Street just 3 days later, we don't just see an arrogant individual, but a mirror reflecting many very real issues in America today. privilege, social media, and civic responsibility. In America, children of powerful or wealthy people are not rare, but how they are raised is what decides everything. When Ariana said this court survives thanks to the budget my dad approves, or Caprio will have to go easy, that is the result of a very dangerous mindset. Public power can be used to shield wrongdoing. In real life, if parents always call in favors, get a connected lawyer, protect the child at all costs, they unintentionally teach the child that the law is something to bargain with, not respect. Social media is also a big lesson. Ariana didn't just err on the streets, she erred by turning insults to Officer Reyes and mockery of the court into entertainment content. In the United States, where TikTok, Instagram, YouTube infiltrate every minute of life, young people need to understand everything you post is a record of your character to society, employers, even to the court. This story reminds us that traffic laws are not just signs but boundaries for the lives of children, neighbors, our own families, and the deepest lesson is love for a child is not clearing away every consequence they cause, but having the courage to let them take responsibility before their whole life, or someone else's, is ruined. If you believe that justice must always stand firm against privilege as in today's story, please subscribe to continue joining us. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video with more real stories from courtrooms across America.